Welcome to the project Programming a God. There are many concepts that a competitive programmer should know in order to solve the problems asked during competitions. It's better to know some things beforehand in order to solve the problems as quickly as possible and without wasting time on the basic calculations. One such concept is how to find number of squares in a given rectangle. For example, consider a rectangle of height 4 and width 3. The rectangle looks like this. First, let's look at the number of squares of 1 cross 1 dimension. There are total 12 squares. Now 2 cross 2 dimension. There are total 6 square, and for 3 cross 3 dimension there are total 2 squares. So the total number of squares become 20. To get to the solution, first consider this. Let height be equal to width. This means the shape is a square. First, when both height and width are equal to 1. This is the information. As we go, keep an eye on the observation column. Now, when height and width are 2. This is the observation. Notice the observation and number of such squares column. Now for height and width equal to 3. This is the information. Notice that the number of squares have a pattern. So total squares when height and width equal to n is n square plus n minus 1 square plus n minus 2 square up to 1 square. This can be stated as follows. This is the case when height and width are same. Let's move further. Now consider what happens when we add a column to the square shape. Adding a column makes the shape as follows. Let's calculate the squares present. Look at the table carefully. Number of new squares on adding the column is important. Now let's add one more column to this new shape. The shape now becomes as shown. Again, look at the number of new squares on adding the new column. This can be understood as follows. Total squares on adding a new column of height n is n plus n minus 1 plus n minus 2 up to 1. This can be stated as n follows. Also, if we add m such columns, then the number of added squares become m multiplied by the number of squares on adding one column. Now we can get the total number of squares by adding both the things that we found out. Consider the rectangle with height n and width m. So the answer becomes the following sum. Note that m minus n is the number of new columns added. Also make sure that m is always the greater side of the rectangle. Next, the simple C++ code for the following concept is provided. Please subscribe to support the channel.